Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into Napoleon Hill's absolute masterclass on the titans of industry. You know the names: Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller. Hill spent literally years decoding the alchemy of their massive wealth, and today we're going to unpack those findings together.
87. That's how many years it's been since Hill first published these principles in Think and Grow Rich. But, actually, here's the really fascinating thing. Despite nearly a century of crazy technological change, the core psychology of wealth creation that he uncovered, it remains fundamentally true today. The psychology of success simply hasn't changed.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make things super efficient today, rather than slogging through a long list of 13 rules, we've logically grouped Hill's findings into 6 actionable phases. We've got 1. The blueprint for riches, 2. Cultivating the ultimate spark, 3. Programming your subconscious mind, 4. Planning and specialized knowledge, 5. The power of the mastermind, and 6. Persistence, the final key.
Starting right off with Phase 1, the blueprint for riches.
Look, before you can build anything of lasting value, you need a blueprint, right? And that means true success starts with a single, undeniable focus. To really see this in action, let's look at the incredible story of Edmund C. Barnes. The guy literally traveled to New Jersey on a freight train with one definite, burning desire. He didn't just want a job. He didn't want to work for Thomas Edison. He was absolutely determined to become Edison's business partner. He flat out refused to be just another cog in Edison's massive corporate wheel. And that level of intense, laser-focused purpose, that is the mandatory starting line for any great fortune.
Moving into Phase 2, cultivating the ultimate spark.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how you actually create that internal catalyst. Hill provides a baseline definition here, stating, "You can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for money. It can't just be a casual wish, not just a daydream." Hill argues that combining this intense, white-hot desire with absolute faith creates a specific psychological vibration. And it's this exact vibration that actively reverses the doomed, negative mindset of poverty that ends up holding so many people back.
So how do we practically build that vibration? Well, Hill gives us an exact 6-step formula to transmute that desire into reality. 1. Determine the exact amount of money you desire. 2. Decide exactly what you're going to give in return for it. 3. Set an exact date for its achievement. 4. Make a definite plan and act immediately, even if you totally don't feel ready yet. 5. Write all of this down in a clear statement. And 6. Read it aloud to yourself twice daily. Take a second and really look at this list. How can you apply this exact formula to your own goals today?
While you're working on defining that desire, you've also got to master Principle 7, which is decision. The most successful millionaires avoid procrastination entirely by practicing prompt decision-making. They reach sound decisions quickly, and they change them very slowly. On the flip side, we have procrastination, which usually stems from being constantly influenced by the flock of opinions around you. To succeed, you absolutely must trust your own definite purpose over the noise of the crowd.
Which brings us to Phase 3, programming your subconscious mind.
To really build wealth, we have to start treating the mind like a complex machine that requires deliberate programming, and the primary tool for this is auto-suggestion. This is basically the principle of training your subconscious mind to automatically process and accept new thoughts through precise emotional belief. Bare logic just isn't enough. Thoughts literally cannot enter the subconscious without this principle. Think of positive emotions, things like desire, faith, enthusiasm, as the yeast in a loaf of bread. Without the yeast, the bread doesn't rise, right? Same thing here. Without emotion, the mind simply doesn't activate.
And when that mind does activate, it completely supercharges Principle 5, imagination. Hill details 2 types here. First, synthetic imagination. This is where you take past ideas and observations and sort of rearrange them into something new. It's like a giant puzzle. But if you hit a wall there, your strong, vibrating desire allows your brain to effortlessly shift into creative imagination. This is the process of receiving entirely new ideas from scratch, which we often experience as sudden inspiration or those deep gut feelings.
Now, Hill explains the mechanics of this through some admittedly esoteric concepts. He views the brain structurally as a broadcasting station, where thoughts act as high-rate energy vibrations. He posits that an invisible ether carries these vibrations between human brains, and our sixth sense is essentially the receiver that picks up these flashes of inspiration. Now, whether you take that literally or metaphorically, structurally speaking, this is Hill's mechanism for exactly how our subconscious operates to broadcast our desires and receive that intuitive guidance.
And speaking of powerful human energy, the sources also dive into Principle 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. Now, this concept clarifies that history's greatest achievers simply figured out how to redirect their natural biological motivations, those deeply rooted human instincts and romantic drives to impress, and channel them directly into intensely focused professional ambition. It's all about taking that raw human energy and actively using it to supercharge your willpower and creative effort.
Okay, so we've deeply covered the internal mechanics of success. But here is the massive question we must answer next. How do you turn a vibrating thought, no matter how powerful it is, into a physical, tangible fortune?
That brings us to Phase 4, planning and specialized knowledge. This is the phase where thoughts finally leave the mind and meet the real world. Let's check out this quote regarding Andrew Carnegie. The specialized knowledge which Carnegie required for the manufacture and marketing of steel, he found available through the individual units of his Mastermind group. And this brilliantly illustrates Principle 4. Listen, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. An abundance of general knowledge alone won't make you rich. You just need to have the ability to organize and direct the specialized knowledge of other experts.
Of course, organizing other people means you have to embody Principle 6, organized planning and leadership. The sources list 10 key attributes of a leader here. Everything from unwavering courage and self-control to sympathy and a real mastery of detail. And pay close attention to this next point, because it's huge. If you experience temporary defeat while executing your plans, it does not mean you're a failure. It simply means your plans weren't sound yet, and they just need to be adapted.
Moving right along to Phase 5, the power of the mastermind.
You see, executing monumental strategies requires perfect alignment with capable people. Principle 9 details how a mastermind group provides two very distinct advantages. First is the economic advantage, literally surrounding yourself with experts for actionable advice and counsel. But the second is the spiritual advantage. When two or more minds align on a definite purpose, they create a spirit of harmony that literally multiplies thought energy. It's exactly like a group of electric batteries, right? Linked together, they provide significantly more power than any single battery ever could on its own.
And finally, Phase 6, persistence, the final key.
You've got the blueprint, you've got the team, but now you need the sustaining force to actually see it through. Remember our narrative anchor from earlier, Edwin C. Barnes? Well, it took Barnes 5 long years. He spent 5 years doing menial tasks, sweeping floors, organizing files, all before the Ediphone opportunity finally intersected with his relentless preparation. But he never, ever gave up his definite purpose of becoming Edison's partner.
So, the crucial point is this. Persistence is your absolute, ultimate insurance against failure. Successful people, the millionaires Hill studied, they simply do not accept defeat as anything more than a temporary pause. They use their willpower to just keep moving forward until the right opportunity arrives.
And becoming a highly persistent person doesn't just happen by accident. It's built on exact foundations: definiteness of purpose, intense desire, self-reliance, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower, and habit. In a way, all the preceding principles we've discussed today culminate perfectly into this final sustaining trait.
Wow, we have covered immense ground today. You now know the complete alchemy of wealth, all the way from that first spark of autosuggestion to the enduring power of a mastermind group. But remember, knowledge is only potential power. So what exact amount will you write down tonight to ignite your own white heat of desire? The first step of those 13 principles is right there waiting for you. Go grab a pen, write it down, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.